Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geek Bytes podcast. I am Ramon Mejia here.
I am Edgardo Acosta.
And we bring you the round of the week's best geek and tech news every single week. And we discuss that news and, of course, anything else we happen to be interested in this week. And this week we got some great news, geeky stories for you folks.
We got the Tide Pod Challenge, Captain Marvel in her suit, the West Side Story revival, Bill and Ted 3, the movie trailer Showdown, and more.
Yep, so many very interesting stories. So we'll get right into geek news. And of course, we begin with our first story, which is going to be about Tide Pods. Apparently, this Tide Pod Challenge thing is still a thing. So much so that the American Association of Poison Control has released some actual numbers alerting people not to eat Tide Pods. If you haven't seen this on the internet, it's been all over for the last few weeks. YouTube has actually gone to the extent of actually removing videos of people doing the Tide Pod Challenge just to discourage teens from getting the attention that they're seeking from eating these objects. And it's just, it seems like the weirdest thing ever. But like, you're eating soap voluntarily. Like,
and you didn't even say a bad word.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you didn't earn it. It's just, and there are actually some people who are even trolling Amazon where they will put into the frequently asked questions and answers like, how does this taste? And people will troll them saying,
reviews
tastes like mint. Spring Fresh is the best. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, so this is a thing. But apparently the American Association of Poison Control Center has released some numbers saying that there's still an increase in their reports of this thing happening. So much so that
kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murder. Okay.
That the incidence of laundry detergent filled issues has doubled just the beginning portions of this year. So that's very sad. So kids don't eat Tide Pods. It's not healthy for you.
These all white people really want to stay all white, don't they?
I guess.
Well, okay, I've seen a couple of quote unquote challenges of it. I've seen people just straight out kind of gnaw into it. The one that I thought was originally the challenge is people trying to smoke it. Because I've seen it when they pop the gel part of either I think it's the blue or the orange stuff, put it into their little bong pipe, whatever, and inhale it. I'm like, dude, no. I've had like one bad experience when I used, when I did the laundry, the powder stuff, and not intentionally inhale it, but you know, when it's all like in the
puffy
air.
Exactly.
I'm like, I couldn't even handle that. I don't know how people could chew it.
These are just dumb teens being dumb for internet fame, I guess.
There was this one funny tweet that Ryan Reynolds put out. He's all like, I went to do the laundry, and I noticed there was my cabinet was full of juicy fruit packages. So that just shows that my daughter has a Tide Pod in her lunchbox.
Ah, there you go.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. Now in other news, apparently the Jurassic World show is going to get a live action show. And it's going to come to in fall 2019, which is like, just in a year from now at this point. And this is the description for the show. Jurassic World fans, get ready for the all-new live-action show coming to your hometown. Experience the excitement of coming face-to-face with life-size dinosaurs, including the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Velociraptor Blue, and many of your other favorites. Adventure is guaranteed with arena-sized action, special effects, and physical stunts that will leave you at the edge of your seat.
So they finally, I'm guessing they might have got the licensing thing, because there is a thing already exists called Walking with Dinosaurs. Okay. I don't know if you ever heard of that one.
I've seen the movie, I think.
Walking with Dinosaurs?
Yeah, there's this 3D movie that came in theaters where you actually go on this adventure in 3D for dinosaur stuff.
Yeah. But they have a live action version of it. So it's pretty much big animatronic maquette ones with, they got the sounds, everything. It's amazing. It's almost like the Jurassic Park, literally, in Futurama, where you can actually ride the dinosaurs and such like that. So they even got like saddles and whatnot, so you can ride a Stegosaurus or whatnot. And it's pretty cool. They're actually going to be here locally in our area, little exhibits where you do that, where you interact with dinosaurs. And it's so funny to see. Like, we are now official members of the Universal Studios silver and gold members. So we got to actually experience a little bit. I think we saw Jurassic. I got to ride the Jurassic World ride, so it's pretty cool. It's still holding up for being I don't know how many years old. But they got this also interactive. I don't call it exhibit thing where they actually have an animatronic dinosaur coming out on its own, a raptor.
This large raptor thing. Yeah. Some guy in a suit with like a animatronic head.
Yeah.
And it's very adorable.
It's cool. It's fun. It's and nice. Especially see my little one. She's like, oh my God. She wasn't freaked out at all. I'm like, you are a brave little girl. So I'm definitely maybe take her to one of the Jurassic World Experience Live.
Yeah, this seems like it's interesting. I'm not sure if I'd spend money on it, but hey, for folks who happen to love this kind of interactive stuff with horror and fiction, this is one of the things we'll be talking about. And the next one goes to Harry Potter. Honestly, this one seems more interesting to me because I don't know if I'm really in love with animatronic dinosaurs, but I sure do like me some Harry Potter. And apparently there is going to be a cruise ship, a riverboat cruise ship specifically, that's going to take you throughout England to the places where they shot Harry Potter, do some Harry Potter themed events, have Harry Potter inspired meals, and all for the low price of $4,000 per person. Yeah. But it's like a 2-week cruise. Like you stay on the ship, the Magna Carta, and it's a boat cruise ship, so it's not one of those big like princess cruise ships or anything like that. And they take you all over the United Kingdom, up and down the River Thames, show you the places where Harry met Buckbeak in the Prisoner of Azkaban, Pickett's Post, and the place where the Dursleys lived, Oxford Christ Church, where the Great Hall was modeled, and all kinds of other things. Of course, good food, all that's included. So, honestly, I'd be more interested in taking this kind of cruise personally than I would like one of those gigantic princess cruises.
Oh, totally. I had to look up Magna Carta. I'm like, why does that name sound familiar? It's like a book or something. It's
a document that stopped England from being a monarchy into like a democracy.
So you're gonna write that?
No. It's just also be the name of this boat ship.
Oh. So. But yeah, cruises alone, they range up in the thousands for sure. Even if it's per person kind of deal, as long as they have all you can eat buffet, right? Hopefully that's covered.
I think they have like private meals because again, this is not one of those like gigantic cruises. I think there's only 8 passengers on the entire ship.
What?
And that is excluding the crew of 4. So it's really a much more intimate experience of like...
That sounds more like Gilligan's Island. Like it's going to be a 3-hour tour and they're going to end up in a like enchanted magical island.
Yeah, no, you're on there for apparently 2 weeks with 8 people and you just travel up and down the River Thames and go all across England and see some Harry Potter themed spots. I'm like, that seems more interesting to me than being on this gigantic boat where you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
There's a buffet, but there's also just like a bunch of weirdos and...
Yeah, because New Zealand has their thing. They have a walking tour of all the locations that they film, like parts of Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
So that makes sense on that. Like I would totally do that just for the experience on it. But my as long as they get obviously the okay and the licensing from Miss Rawlings, because
yep, totally official.
Can't cash in on somebody else's thing.
Yeah,
get off their Kool-Aid.
Okay, now some more. Entertainment news. We have some great stories, including the first pictures of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. These have leaked on the internet. She's in this very interesting green and black theme suit. The internet was a little bit annoyed that she wasn't in the like red, yellow, and like blue suit that they showed.
Color one.
Yeah, they showed that version of her for Comic-Con. Like there was like this just like very small scene where she's jumping out of a plane. She hits a button. She's in her suit and she like flies out of the plane. And this was set in like more modern times. Remember, this movie is supposed to be set in the 80s, I believe. So it's not set in like 2018. It's set in like the 1980s. And so they're kind of going back in time a little bit. And people are hypothesizing that the green and black suit is the same suit that Captain Marvel, who's the Kree warrior, wears. So she's wearing apparently like a Kree armor or something.
It has a logo on it. My thing is like looking at that black and green that she's rocking. It's like a weird combination of either Mask Rider or the Green Ranger on it. All it's missing really is just a helmet. Oh, she's missing a helmet and doing some of the martial arts moves and just explosions in the back. And
Yeah,
she's
I'm curious
totally a
how
Power Ranger.
Curious how martial arty she's going to be, because I don't really see her as a physical actress very much.
No, because the thing with her, she's supposed to be like ridiculously strong, can shoot out projectile beams or whatnot.
She's very Supermanish.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so, and of course, yeah, she flies.
She flies.
So one of the very few characters you actually get to see other than, let's see, Vision in the Marvel universe that flies.
Thor flies. Of like the characters we've seen,
his
Iron Man.
His flying.
Quite a few characters fly.
Yeah. No, but it was a weird concept with well, obviously with Iron Man it's technology based, so he's in a suit. But with Thor, his history on flight was he actually doesn't fly. He just flings his hammer
really hard,
and he just goes where the hammer takes him.
Right.
So I've never seen him actually like suspended in midair and just go cruising wherever he wants. He just swings the hammer and just goes where it goes.
Yeah, that was he's just following his flying hammer kind of.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I just can't wait to see it. I'm
more excited to see her when she's actually in the costume. But her origin story can't have her just be there already. She has to have like the arc of like meeting the Kree and hitting with Captain Marvel and inheriting his powers through, I think, lovemaking. Was that what happened?
Either that, or I think it was a blood transfusion. They've kind of manipulated it in the comics and in the cartoons.
And either way, she'll get her power. She'll become our Captain Marvel. But apparently, she's appearing in Avengers 4 first, and then this movie is supposed to slated to hit in 2019, or wherever after the Avengers 4 comes out, Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay, in other Marvel Entertainment news, we have the casting of Daredevil's mom, Matt Murdock's mother, the sister Maggie. Apparently it's going to be Joanne Whateley, who's best known for her work as Saoirse in the movie Willow. She was the redhead in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's that lady. Oh. She's just older. That's life. She's going to be playing Sister Maggie.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. So, wait a minute. So, is she...
Remember, they introduced Sister Maggie at the end of Daredevil. Not Daredevil. It's the end of the their team show.
Okay.
The Defenders, right? Matt's assumed dead, but he reappears at the very end after the credits in like in some monastery. Well, no, he's actually laying down in the bed at the end of that series. And he's just all bandaged up, and you see like a big cross above his head, and he's on this old timey metal bed with like these stucco walls, so it's like a monastery. And one of the nuns comes in and yells for Sister Maggie. He's waking up, and so that was the tease into like, oh, next season of Daredevil, you're gonna get to see his mom and like get the backstory, like why she abandoned him.
Your dad was a dick.
He was a boxer. I mean, I don't know. I'm not even actually sure the backstory, like why she abandoned him, but this is kind of trying back into like a little more religious themed.
Totally. We'll all find out, because honestly, I don't know her backstory, to be honest. Nope. So I'm going to put it out there. So, but it's going to be cool.
Okay. Next story. This one's a little weird. If you haven't heard, Marvel's Inhumans show got canceled. It was very quiet. They just disappeared from the slate. And nobody really noticed because they weren't getting great ratings.
Or cared.
Yeah. But there are apparently some fans of the show that have created a petition on change.org to get the show restarted. They actually started an online petition. And I mean, if this is something with change.org, if you get a certain number of signatures, the president is supposed to actually take a look at it and answer the questions, or his staff is.
It's like the same thing with the president of the United States, right?
I don't know that this president is going to do that. But there is a change.org position to get this thing redone. Unfortunately, even in like the week and a half that it's been out there, there's less than 4,000 signatures. So that kind of shows you the level of like actual people who want this thing to come back. But even within that particular change.org page, they note that there are issues that they're like, this isn't the best story. There's a lot of issues, and they go on to list them, which is a little weird.
Here's why you suck.
But we can make this better. No, yeah, really. They legitimately, that's what it is. They're like, oh, the story started a little early. We'll actually pull it up.
Your CG dog, her hair, really him, walking about and not be able to talk.
It's not that bad. It was fast tracked. The first 2 episodes were shot in 20 days. It had a lower budget than it should have because of all this. So not a lot of CGI effects. The performance are some are noteworthy, but a lot of them weren't. Yeah. So like there's a lot of very interesting statements from the petition.
It's coming from a fat guy living in his mom's basement.
It feels like there's a smaller audience, just not enough to get it redone. But some of these petitions I have actually worked in the past, including Family Guy.
Oh, bringing it back?
Yeah, bringing it back. Totally. Like just these online petitions like, oh, we love this show. Timeless was another one. Futurama. Timeless is a time travel show. It has one season currently. It just got an order for a second season. But it was actually canceled after the first 3 episodes. Like they legitimately said, oh, we're canceling this show. And then the fans petitioned the network to actually come back and bring it back. And there was enough of an interest where there's in the online verse that the producers were like, the company was like, okay, we'll finish out the season. And they started production up again on it. And they've actually continued the first season, and it's good enough to get a second season pickup. So that's one of those stories like, oh, there's enough fan base there to actually convince people to do things. I don't know if there is that for this particular show, because that was legitimately a good show. It was just like, oh, time travel doesn't work for everybody. The Inhumans just sucked. I mean, the CGI effects, even like the first couple episodes where it's like supposed to be the best and draw you in and you put the most money for your pilot, they were not done well. The powers were decent, but like Medusa loses her hair in the first episode, and I'm like, and so she's balding, which explains why her hair looked plastic in all like the promos, because they'd put on a plastic looking wig on her. And the picture I'm using here is very specifically chosen because that's what it kind of devolved into. Like it devolves into like, oh, they're mutants on Earth, except you can't see all their cool powers at all. And the main character doesn't talk. And I'm like, so, okay, that's not that amazing to me.
Maybe he'd be great for radio.
Yes. It would be a very interesting show.
But I think that would have made him, or if not give him a chance, especially at the time, if Fox would have Disney would have bought Fox a long time ago, have the Fantastic Four thing, because that was the big connection with the Inhumans. The way they got connected into the Marvel Universe was through the Fantastic Four. But being what it was at the time, they were like, okay, we need mutants, we need superpowers, we need characters. Who can we put out? The Inhumans. And like, all right, let's see what we can do with this.
Yeah, that's kind of what they were.
Yeah, right. But they didn't have the luck of like Guardians of the Galaxy with like a not as popular,
they're not entertaining. I mean, they're very much like a royal family-ish kind of thing.
Nobody cares about the royals.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is. So there we go. I mean, there was really no play. Like you could have done so much with the Inhuman franchise. Yeah. In that it's a kingdom on the moon, which is fine. But then you have mutants coming from Earth looking for a place where they can have a refugee status kind of thing going on, and creating their own community. And that could have been a great story. But that's not what this is. It's royal people exiled to Earth and finding mutant community on Earth and being hunted by their former staff.
Yeah, because it's totally doing better in the animated series. They're actually connecting
because you can do more superhero stuff. Like totally. The CGI budget is unlimited there because it's the same animation.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of new things coming back, the West Side Story apparently is going to be remade by Steven Spielberg. After he's done with Indiana Jones 5, he's going to take a crack at West Side Story. I don't know who's asking for this to come back.
I'm surprised this is not one of those what they have done recently and made it a network television live version, like West Side Story live.
Yeah, it was originally a Broadway play, musical, and it was made in 1961 into a musical movie, which is what most people see it as.
America.
But it's also it's a very dated concept. It's supposed to be Romeo and Juliet, but instead of opposing families, you have opposing gangs. And I believe I can't remember. Is it set in New York?
Yeah.
I think it's set in New York,
Harlem, all that stuff. So definitely you got the Jets, and I forgot what was the other ones.
Yeah, I've never actually seen the movie.
You never seen the movie?
No, but I mean, you kind of get the basics. It's two, gangs who are vying for turf. Right. Turf, even that word is a little old. Even and rival gang members fall in love with like a boy and a girl, and
it's been parodied in a lot of things. SNL did a couple covers on it. Even Animaniacs said their own little thing with the good feathers. It was really well done. I feel like if they do the revamp, whatnot, if they'll go live and maybe even add a couple more songs to it, because it had just maybe 2-3 songs in it, even though it was quote unquote a musical, but they had a dance number. But it was kind of hard to take serious, especially the rival gangs. Like you can't have like current cholos be like, "What's up? What's up?" Then in 5, 6, 7 in jazz hands.
You kind of could. I've seen a few like little small snippets of like of that particular theme style, like as a parody almost.
Yeah,
and it's actually kind of works a little bit.
Oh, I love to see
especially
cholos
if you like instead of inserting it with like traditional jazz ballet stuff, the step kind of dancing,
the crumping.
Yeah, well, it's like the step dancing. Yeah, I mean,
I think they did that.
Stuff, but yeah,
I think they did that with Step It Up and Honey. Those are like,
yeah, no, that's what I kind of feel like. Oh, those movies that was already kind of like gone into like the urban gang lifestyle.
Yeah, because all that was missing in it really was the musical part, the song.
But if anybody can make it work, Steven Spielberg, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Why not? I mean, he has a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In other news, we have Full Metal Alchemist, the live action version, is going to be coming to Netflix, and just a couple weeks on February the 19th, it'll be available on Netflix. This way, you don't have to pirate it because it's been out for a little while in Japan and China.
Just be patient. Come on.
Yeah. So just wait a couple weeks, guys. It'll be
get a good quality.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that one. Also, more entertainment news. We have reboots galore. Apparently, Magnum PI and Cagney and Lacey have both gotten series pilots ordered. So I'm like,
we covered it, didn't we? We covered the Magnum that supposedly is going to be a girl this time.
It was Magnum PI. They did a pilot shot, and it was really expensive, but the production companies put it out for. But they've ordered apparently pilot commissions for it. So there we go. We have series reboots.
Now, Cagney and Lacey. Yeah. That's one show that I gotta admit I did not watch growing up at all. I've heard of.
Yeah, it's very female oriented. I was definitely more of a Magnum PI guy.
So they're chick dicks. They're like girl detectives.
Yeah, that's there, and so it definitely appeals to the female audience. A lot of women growing up in that age were like, "Oh yeah, Cagney and Lacey, that was the show I watched," because they were girl detectives and they didn't take it from the guys.
I'm surprised they didn't do like a. I'm surprised they didn't do like a Remington Steel or what's that other one?
Remember they did Dynasty. They did a reboot of Dynasty, and this is kind of like the same kind of like, these are old intellectual properties that we have. Well, let's reboot them and make them good again. And like, I don't know. Tom Selleck is kind of the show for Magnum PI. He's the face of the show.
True.
If they can get, I don't actually see why they can't do him, except for the fact that he's just kind of old.
Or just son of Magnum, or in this case, we were talking about daughter of Magnum. Oh no, it was the daughter was Higgins's daughter. That she was running the show because I think he died in real life. I think so. It was hard to get him to put him on the show. Yeah,
it was supposed to like some others. I mean, Magnum PI was supposed to be an independent character, as were his army buddies. He's supposed to be a vet again, and it's just that it's a whole new cast. I don't know about Higgins' daughter, but I do know she was supposed to be a female. I remember that from the original pilot call, and this is just kind of sad. Like most of these reboots just don't work because you're basically trying to build off nostalgia, and the things that are people nostalgia about aren't the things that people want nowadays. Like
okay, is there anything where 80s, 90s television that you could think of might get a chance? Do you think they should give it a chance for a reboot?
I'm hoping Alf comes back at some point.
Alf would be trippy, but I think they would make him creepy. I don't think he'd be the cute little Muppet character.
I think you could actually use the exact same puppet, and it might be entertaining still. Maybe Small Wonder. In the age of androids that could totally and AI, Small Wonder might actually work really well.
To me, Small Wonder would be like Terminator Genesis or the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Chronicles, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was totally Small Wonder for me. But I would like to see. Let's see. Bring back the Child Black Star. So like Webster or like Different Strokes. But hopefully they don't thug him out because they try to stereotypically try to make him all like popped out. He's from the streets and everything, but he's given a chance living in no.
A lot of those shows where white people save colored people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and I'm like, I don't know if those work quite as well anymore. I say try other things that are new. Just recently started watching on Netflix the show called Episodes. Very entertaining. Television show was originally
with
BBC,
Joey, right?
Yeah, with Joey Lawrence. It was originally a BBC show, and it's about Joey from Friends. So
Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc. Sorry, but it's basically about making television in America, but the script and the writers coming from Britain, and so there's a clash of cultures and just entire views on like what television is, making 24 episodes as opposed to 6.
One show that I'm hearing that's good on Netflix.
It's really funny though.
One show that's good on Netflix that I have not given it not that I haven't given it a chance, but I'm hearing a lot of good stuff. Black Mirror.
Yes, I saw the first episode of season 4, and it was very entertaining. But it is very much like the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits, and that it's very science fiction with a twist, kind of to your stories every time, with like some moral point in a way, or like bringing like a concept about. Because the idea of Black Mirror is that it's your unused phone screen. That's the Black Mirror. Like when you're looking at it, it looks like a Black Mirror. And so it's very tech oriented.
Cool. I like it.
It's very interesting. Okay. More reboot news. Apparently Charm's coming back as well. So we have Magnet PI, we have Caddy and Lacey, and we have Charmed.
Okay, now we're talking brand new lineup of girls, three new witches,
entirely new girls. Apparently, there was an original concept not that many months ago we talked about, in that they were looking to set it in like the 70s with a different cast. It was like a pre-version of like the Charm Girls. That went nowhere. That got scrubbed.
I was gonna say,
in 10, instead the new script is penned by O'Toole and Rardin, based on a story by some lady named Irma. It's set in our present time. It is being greenlighted with this concept. This fierce, funny, feminist reboot of the original series centers on 3 sisters in a college town who discover they are witches. Between vanquishing supernatural demons tearing down the patriarchy and maintaining familial bonds, a witch's work is never done. So the concept is basically the same as the original, with this are their words, a feminist twist. Yeah, I'm like,
boo men, apparently.
I mean, that's not necessarily the case. They could be very female, strong empowerment kind of concept, and that they don't need men to save them. But I'm like, that's what the original show was kind of about as well. Like, it was a very kind of girl power oriented show. And some people in there are very upset that they mentioned the phrasing feminism because they felt like the original show was already of that bent.
Just not necessarily feminist, just very pro-girl.
Yeah, is that the girls don't need the guys to save them. Like, in other words, like in a lot of those episodes, they were saving the guys, whether it's the demon or the angel or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
I heard, and this is just going by rumor, supposedly they're bringing back, or at least doing a live action, once again, reboots of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch.
Well, I hear it was supposed to be a dark Sabrina, wasn't it? Like, she's like this darker, hardcore witch. Mm-hmm. And it feels more along like a supernatural bent of, like, instead of being all super cheery, it's like, what's that other show? Grimm. Like, kind of like a Grimmish show, just with Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah, hopefully they have those ants. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I had a thing for Zelda.
They were both very attractive, especially to a teenage.
For older ladies, I was like, hey.
Wait, all these women in one house?
Exactly. But I would see that, if anything, just give the girls some witch powers. And they'll definitely get a lot of people that watch, like,
That would be a show. I feel like that would be more like, what was that one with, never mind, forget it. Okay, another entertainment news. My brain is going places. We have a reboot of Bill and Ted. Not a reboot, a next movie. Bill and Ted 3 has been slowly inching forward the last 10 years. This current script that's making the rounds is written by Ed Solom, and everyone seems pretty keen on, including Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, the Bill and Ted. The summary of the show is basically that the movie is called for Bill and Ted. It's called Bill and Ted Face the Music. And the story will send the older middle-aged Bill S. Preston, Esquire, and Ted Theodore Logan back in time to interact with their past selves in George Carlin's character Rufus, using footage from the 1989 Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They will return to that scene at the Circle K where Bill and Ted first meet themselves, only now they're watching their younger selves and looking at the exuberance and joy that they had at that time in their lives. And then they see Rufus, they see George Carlin. So a little bit of a peek into what the script entails. So it's supposed to be for the older characters. So they're acknowledged, they're not going to CGI young them up necessarily, but it's going to be with older Bill, older Ted, kind of facing where they ended up at, even though they have the power of a time machine.
It's going to make me sad and cry because obviously George Carlin's no longer
he's
around.
Not. And so
if anything, I say just make a continuation of part 2, because remember, have you seen the movies?
Yeah, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah. Remember when they came back? I think it might have been the No, it was the second one where they came back. They got lessons from like all these awesome rock stars.
Yeah.
They had these long, huge. One of them had the long, huge beard, the ZZ Top beard. And when you notice when they turned around, they had kids.
Little kids, yeah.
So I'm all like, continue the story with the kids.
And that's kind of what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be them older, like in their middle age, like they are now, and the consequences of their choices in life. I don't know if they're gonna be good dads, bad dads, divorced, still with those same girls. But I'm okay with watching that story, to be honest. Like time travel is one of those things that there are just so many opportunities of like changing your past. And like, the core concept of time travel is that your life decisions aren't set in stone necessarily. Like, you as a time traveler can go back and either change your life or change history. But the idea is that time is fluid, and that it's kind of a wish from like, what would you do if you could change history? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whether or not it's good or bad or the regrets, that's all part of the later on storyline. But that's the kernel of that concept, and that very much hits with middle-aged life. Wondering like, if I had taken this different journey in life, would I have been happier or sadder? And that might be what the story's about.
See, I want to see that, make it of their kids. Millennial, well, obviously they had to be a little older because they obviously age as well, and be girls, be quote unquote like Bill and Ted girls.
Maybe maybe they like just worried about where their kids are going to end up.
Exactly,
could be that case too. Okay, but very interesting stuff. Would totally see that one. Okay, another movie I would absolutely see that's in the works apparently is Robocop. There was supposed to be a new Robocop that's supposed to be a direct sequel to the original 1987 version. Apparently, the script has been written by the original writer for Robocop, Edward Newmer, and he told Zeitgeist that while he's not saying too much currently, he's gonna write a script based upon this movie being a sequel to the original Robocop. So he's gonna kind of erase Robocop 2, 3, and the new Robocop, and instead just be like, Robocop 1 happened, and this is the next story.
I say just work it out with Frank Miller. Frank Miller was one of the, I think, the original creators and not writers for Robocop, if I'm correct. And he kind of didn't like what they eventually did with his story in the sequels. They pretty much, they just took they took the script, they took Robocop, and they just did whatever with it.
Which is very much in line with what happens in Hollywood and public stuff. Which is honestly one of the funny things about that show episodes. What the things they do with the original scripts and how the end product may not match the original in any way, shape, or form. But again, would you watch another RoboCop movie?
Totally. Did you watch the reboot?
I saw the reboot. It was not very good.
It was weird, but I liked it because I just like the sci-fi.
The tech is fine.
Yeah.
The action is okay. But the original was better.
I liked the original. Definitely, it did go a little.
Even 2 and 3 were probably better in my opinion than the new one. Like 2, like the 1 is the best.
Yes.
2 comes next. 3 is a little weird.
When you have the ninja,
with the robotic ninja cyborg. Yeah.
Then he has a jetpack and all that kind of stuff. My thing,
I feel like that was just a toy add-on.
Pretty much. You got to sell them somehow. Got to make some money off it. My only thing was just RoboCop was always awesome, but he was just slow. He was just slow. I'm like, dude.
Well, like the trade-off between like, he's cybernetic and he's a walking tank, but that also means that you're probably going to be slow.
Yeah.
And so to me, it felt like it was a balancing act.
I love that they actually did a crossover thing. If call it inter promotional kind of thing, where RoboCop actually appeared on WCW in wrestling and saved a wrestler that was in a cage, and he literally just grabbed the cage, kind of like ripped it off, even though it was all pre-set up and just that. And but he's slow.
The franchise is actually really well because they did multiple television series based on it, even some TV movies off the original concept. And the last Robocop movie didn't do poorly apparently at the box office. So of course they're willing to do a sequel. I'm happier to see it's based on the original than it is off the newest version of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of new versions of all things, we have Duke Nukem. Apparently John Cena is in talks to adapt the popular video game Duke Nukem, and he's going to be the main character.
Okay, so this is going to be a big iffy on it because the whole history with video game movies don't always work out.
Very rarely work out.
And in this case, a wrestler becoming a video game character, it's been done with it, and obviously the movie wasn't that great, but it's something to watch with Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Remember being him in Doom?
Oh, he was the character Doom. Oh
Exactly.
yeah, I forget that they remade that movie.
Exactly.
Because it sucked.
Exactly. So taking it upon himself to don the sunglasses and the red tank
Well, there's
top.
kind of one of those things about those earlier movies is that, movies based on these early franchise games is that those games were not story driven. They're very action driven in that you're there killing stuff. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be Doom or Duke Nukem, it's really just about it's an extension of an arcade game where you're just shooting stuff.
Yeah.
And there's really no stories. So to craft a story to that, you almost have to take it to a very parody, jokey way for like a character like Duke Nukem because he was just Arnold Schwarzenegger with blonde hair, with like these different catchphrases, and that was the entire thing. Where like you're shooting aliens, the end, and you can either make it to the end or you can't, and you don't lose story. There's no real story to it.
No, I also love that. I gotta give you credit. They used the chain gang photo of John Cena when he was more into the rapping.
Younger,
yeah. So kudos to that. But yeah, he totally has the look. You know, slap on the glasses, the red tank top, the camo bullet.
Yeah, I'm not saying he couldn't do it. It's not. I don't think it's be a very difficult role. Yeah. I don't know that it'd be great for his career.
He was good in the Marine.
I just don't see the movie doing well.
Have you seen him in the Marine?
Yeah, he's a decent actor, I guess. But he's not amazing.
Now, the movie that he's coming out in recently,
I think the funnier one is the cock block.
Cock blockers.
I think that's a better opportunity for him just to be a funny character instead of just being action guy.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Because I don't know. Did you ever see Ferdinand? That's another one he's in. He plays the bull. And he's like
another white guy playing a Latin bull.
I know what it's like to be judged by your physical appearance as I wear this super tight shirt. Yeah.
Nipples. So,
but anyways, that's I'm sure he'll be fine. Okay, let's see what else we have. These are a couple of internet rumors, so you can judge them by whatever. But apparently,
is that a fan art?
No, it's fan art. But there's a Shazam as already casting. I think they've already started filming. But there are rumors that Superman's going to appear there. And it's going to be what's his face, Cavill, is going to appear as Superman in that particular movie. So does this matter to you at all?
No, honestly, I saw the fan art for a second. I thought it was the Sheldon guy, Sheldon Cooper character for a second because it's just a side profile. But obviously, it's not him. And
no, that's the actual actor who's supposed to be Shazam.
Now, once again, is that fan art or is that the concept art for at least this Shazam outfit?
It's kind of both of this. I mean, the top part is the actual actor who's going to be Shazam.
Yes.
The bottom art is just artwork, and that's just a steal from Man of Steel, I believe.
Okay, that's the part that I was always wondering because I didn't know which version of the costume if they were going to give him the side cape thing where it
I don't think they decided yet.
Hopefully they go with that. You know, there's always going to be comparisons between him and Superman. You know, even just by the look wise, because they were pretty much had that iconic look. The only difference was just the S curl, but they had the very square jawed and all that.
No, and that's not accidental. I believe that Billy Batson, in his mind, that's the kind of superhero he wants. He wants to be Superman, except that his powers are magical, and so his character was intentionally idealized after Superman, including like the really square chin, the outfit, the lightning bolt that's kind of shaped like an S in the middle. None of that's accidental as far as like Billy Batton's mind creating the kind of person he wants to be as far as like, who Shazam is.
So
but does it make sense why Superman would be there? Like,
well, obviously they're probably going to do like, especially they've done in the animated series where there was a guy that.
So do you think they're going to do the show off version of it where it's Superman versus Shazam? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, he's just going to be in the beginning inspiring Billy Batton, like who he wants to be as a superhero. Because you have to do the origin story of the character. You can't. That's a major turn. Like that's something you would see in like. Later on in like the franchise,
exactly.
Like, Superman versus this magical character.
This, especially if you wanted to be a Shazam movie, you had to centralize on Shazam.
Because Superman would totally take over that entire concept of like, oh yeah, Superman can fix it. What do we need Shazam for?
Yeah, because I loved it in this one of the DC animated things where it was Superman visiting, I guess, Shazam's hometown, but didn't know anything about Shazam, and they're like, oh, he's our, we had the superhero. He has a cape, he has powers and everything. You're like, oh, Superman. It's like, no. what do you mean no? Well, like, we got our own Superman. He's like, what do you mean your own Superman? He's like, you'll see. And, eventually then that's how they introduce Shazam.
Yeah, but apparently there's supposed to be multiple kids in the movie that have superpowers. The entire cast, and they have all their adult versions already cast. And you can go and see fan art of that. Like, oh, that's just April probably watching. I'm like, what? I saw some likes. There's one person. Yep.
Yeah. We had other ones. We had other likes. There you go. Hello, everybody.
Okay. Let's see. What do we have? Our last geek news story is about Dundee. Apparently, this film, Dundee, A Son of a Legend, Returns Home, is marketing. It turns out it's not an actual movie. Apparently, it's made by the Tourism Board of Australia. It's for a big Super Bowl ad that's coming up, I believe, next weekend for the Super Bowl. And so all this stuff has been like viral marketing for like advertising for a Tourism Board ad. But they've been very funny. So there's a new clip that's gone out for a fake Crocodile Dundee sequel. It includes Danny McBride, Chris Hemsworth, Hugh Jackman has done appearances on these small little YouTube clips, but they're funny and they're a little short. And these guys got paid for, doing the thing. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Honestly, in my mind, I feel this was all real. It was a real movie, but from all the reviews and everything, they turned tail.
Really? I would actually like to watch this movie, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a Danny McBride, son of Crocodile Dundee kind of movie. I mean, fun actors. I mean, you have Chris Hemsworth, who's doing more comedy. I mean, Thor Ragnarok was essentially a buddy cop film, buddy comedy film. And here I think he can do a really good job. But Danny McBride is already funny. It doesn't have to be quite as action-oriented and serious. And it's good that they're willing, like the people who own, I believe Paul Hogan, who wrote the Crocodile Dundee script, is willing to take the script and kind of turn it on its head and be irreverent with this. I'm like, okay, I think that would be a good turn. I've seen dumber movies, basically.
Especially Australian-based, when you get a quote-unquote American actor in Australia. The one movie that stuck out to me that obviously is not popular, it's not a cult following or anything, it was called Shrimp on the Barbie, where Cheech Marin, a Mexican guy, went to Australia.
I don't remember that particular movie.
Trust me, it was just weird to say, because they're like... He's literally fish out of water. Yeah. So they take a stereotypical LA Mexican kind of guy, put him in Australia with a whole different other class of white people. It was interesting, and of course to all the white people, all the native Australians, they're like he very like, hey,
you're a different brown person than we usually see around here.
Like, you're not exactly an Aborigine, but. No?
Sure,
okay. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But like I said, I've actually watched this movie. I enjoyed them enough.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it for our news section of the show. We have a couple for the movie trailer showdown, and then that's it. We're almost done, folks. We have 3 movie trailers this week that I thought were pretty cool and interesting. We'll begin with I Kill Giants. Did you have a chance to watch these?
I watched all 3.
Excellent. See, but it's a good week, guys. This one is essentially about a little girl who believes she's a giant killer, and she sees these things, and she has all these artifacts and these magical powers, leaks to herself, but the school counselor doesn't believe her, and she thinks she's imagining things, and she might have issues. So it's kind of that draw between those two things, and very good actresses. And as you see later on, you actually see, from her point of view at least, the giants, the things, and her magical powers. And the big question is whether it's real or whether she's making things up. And that's kind of the fundamental combat. It's also the superhero aspect of her saving either herself or others from these magical giants. And it's a really good.
It's almost like a funky...
a little bit of a snippet from the actual thing.
Yeah, don't confuse it with BFG, because...
this is better. Did you actually see BFG on Netflix?
I saw. I had to give it a chance.
I'm sorry that I gave it a chance. Because, maybe it's a great kid story on, like... few pages, very pretty pictures, but as translated to a movie, it sucked.
The whole time I was watching her, though, because of the bunny ears, I'm all like, is this like a Bob's Burger like live action movie? Maybe
coming in a way, like the character is supposed to be very quirky and unliked by everybody.
Yeah.
And so I'm just guessing it's a tale of like a girl's journey, like figuring out who she wants to be and whether or not she wants to compromise her beliefs for what everyone else believes. And I'm hoping that the giants are actually real and she saves everybody, because that would be much cooler than just it's all in her head. But I'm willing to pay the ticket price to go watch it.
Yep.
Also, next is The Cured. So with this, our second trailer we're talking about after the ad, apparently.
Well, Cured is an interesting, weird, almost like a zombie style movie.
No, it is a zombie movie. It's just that the concept behind it is that the zombie apocalypse happened, but they found a cure for it. So everyone who was a zombie before has been cured, quote unquote, and reintroduced into society, except that they're now viewed with ultimate suspicion. And everyone thinks
they'll go back.
Everyone thinks they can turn again, basically. And so the question was like, oh, what happens after the zombie apocalypse is cured? How do these people reintegrate in society, even though they murdered millions of people as these creature zombies? And do other people forgive them for it? You know what I mean? And so there's that class conflict almost between these. It's an all white cast as far as like the
even white minorities had trouble.
The trailer goes. So I. But
even black people or people of color can't even break in the zombie world.
But that's kind of what it's also a metaphor for, like, people in jail. Like, once people do bad things, can society re-accept them? And so there is that parallel between how people who were in prison are treated once they come out.
Cons.
Yeah. Hard to find housing. People ultimately are very suspicious of them, even after they haven't done anything for a very long time, as soon as they learn they were convicts. And so I think there are parallels between those particular social issues, but still a very interesting looking story, especially towards the end when they get actually like, oh, things go wrong again. And I think that's where the more zombie aspects come out. Like, oh, if the zombie apocalypse happens again, how do these former zombies deal with that? Like, whose side do they turn to? That kind of stuff. And it's a very tense, thrillery kind of thing.
I'm sorry, but there's no way I can't look at her and look at anything she's done and not call her Juno.
Juno, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like a Kitty Pryde. You're like, oh, yeah, look, Juno, join the X-Men.
Juno's in the X-Men. Juno's this, Juno's that.
That's definitely what it looked like.
Yeah.
And our last trailer is going to be Mamma Mia. Here we go again, the international trailer. It's going to be hard to play any of this without getting tagged for like copyright infringement. But it's a very interesting trailer, and it's just fun.
Covers on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much not a prequel, but a story of like how her mom became her mom.
It's definitely a prequel, actually. I mean, it's the current time setting is after Mamma Mia, where she's having a baby, the daughter. But most of the film is supposed to take forward before Mamma Mia, where the three ladies met together, telling the mom's story of like, oh, how she met
actually hooked
the
up
dudes.
With these dudes.
And you know how it's going to end, obviously. They're all going to leave, but it's part of that journey of like, oh, how does she deal with it? And it's mostly just for fun and giggles. So I'm like, oh.
And of course, to me, the best part of it is, and it's towards the end of the clip of the trailer, is Cher.
Yeah, Cher. And she's the grandma who looks younger than mom.
Oh,
I thought that was interesting
because Cher got
some work done. Yeah, she got money for work. So we got three trailers, man. I Kill Giants, The Cured, and Mamma Mia. Here we go again. Which one do you choose for your trailer of the week?
Oh, Mamma Mia. Here we go again.
You with Mamma Mia?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna go with I Kill Giants. I Kill Giants just seemed impressive to me, but you like Mamma Mia. I think it's a good balance. Like I would watch all three of these on the weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're all very different, and they're definitely worth, I think, my time as long as they don't end up sucking at the end. But I would definitely watch all three.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So there you go, folks. That's it. We're done. That's it for the show. If you like the podcast in any way, shape, or form, and you want to help support us, keep us going loud, live, and free, you can find all the ways to do so at
geekbytespodcast.com/support.
Excellent, very much so. Thanks again for listening and watching, everybody. For Geek Bytes Podcast, I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Acosta.
And remember, folks, to go geek out about something. Goodbye, everybody.